touch your nose if you're brave. Sometimes I think I'm brave too. Well, most of the time. But if you're brave, it doesn't mean that you're never scared. This book is a fantasy by Kevin Hinks. Remember that Kevin Hinks wrote Owen? This book is about another mouse named Sheila Ray who thinks she is very brave, but she learns a lesson about what it really means to be brave. Our book is called Sheila Ray the Brave. Sheila Ray wasn't afraid of anything. She's certainly not afraid of standing on just one foot on a chair, is she? Or kissing a spider. She wasn't afraid of the dark. She wasn't afraid of thunder and lightning. Who do you think that this is? This is Sheila Ray's sister, Louise. Does Louise look like she's afraid of the dark? Yep, and she also looks a little bit scared of the thunder and lightning, doesn't she? Do you think that Sheila Ray is more brave than Louise? We'll find out soon. Sometimes people are braver than we think. We don't really know until something scary happens. And she wasn't afraid of the big black dog at the end of the block. At dinner, Sheila Ray made believe that the cherries in her fruit cocktail were the eyes of dead bears, and she ate 5 of them. At school, Sheila Ray giggled when the principal walked by. And when her classmate Wendell stole her jump rope during recess, Sheila Ray tied him up until the bell rang. "I'm very brave," Sheila Ray said, patting herself on the back. Pat yourself on the back if you think you could be that brave. You know what? I didn't pat myself on the back. I don't think I'd be that brave, and I would never giggle at the principal. Sheila Ray stepped on every crack in the sidewalk without fear. When her sister Louise said there was a monster in the closet, Sheila Ray attacked it. Let's look at the pictures of Louise on these pages. Here she is stepping very carefully over the cracks. And in this picture, Louise is the one who thinks there's a monster in the closet. Louise doesn't seem very brave, does she? And she rode her bicycle no-handed with her eyes closed. "Yay, yay, Sheila Ray!" her friends yelled, clapping their hands. Why does Louise have her hands over her eyes? She's so scared she can't even watch Sheila Ray do something like that. One day, Sheila Ray decided to walk home from school a new way. Louise was afraid to. "You're too brave for me," Louise said. "You're always such a scaredy cat," Sheila Ray called. "Am not," whispered Louise. Sheila Ray started off, skipping. "I am brave," she sang. "I am fearless." It looks like Louise is following Sheila Ray. She stepped on every crack. She walked backwards with her eyes closed. She growled at stray dogs and bared her teeth at stray cats. And she pretended that the trees were evil creatures. She climbed up them and broke their fingers off. Snap, snap, snap. Sheila Ray walked and walked. She turned corners. She crossed streets. It suddenly occurred to Sheila Ray that nothing looked familiar. What's happened to Sheila Ray? Look, here's Louise watching her from behind the rock. Does that mean that Louise is lost too? Sheila Ray heard frightening noises. They sounded worse than thunder. thought horrible thoughts. They were worse than anything she had ever imagined. I am brave, Sheila Ray tried to convince herself. I am fearless. Why do you think that Sheila Ray is saying that to herself? I'm brave. I'm fearless. Maybe she's trying to remind herself that she shouldn't be scared. The sounds became more frightening. The thoughts became more horrible. Sheila Ray sat down on the rock and cried. Help, she sniffed. She thought of her mother and her father and Louise. Mother, Father, Louise, she cried. I can make a prediction here. I can see that Louise is still following Sheila Ray. I also see that Louise is not crying. I'm going to predict that Louise will turn out to be braver than I thought. Touch your nose if you agree with my prediction. Now let's find out. Here I am, a voice called. Louise! Sheila Ray hugged her sister. We are lost, Sheila Ray said. No, we're not, said Louise. I know the way home. Follow me. Now, how does Louise know the way home? Why isn't she lost too, like her sister? I'm remembering that when Louise was following Sheila Ray, she wasn't doing all those silly things that Sheila Ray was doing. She might have been paying more attention about the way that they were going instead of playing and pretending to be so brave. Louise stepped on every crack. She walked backwards with her eyes closed. She growled at stray dogs and bared her teeth at stray cats. Why does Louise suddenly feel so brave? Because she didn't used to feel brave like that, did she? Maybe because she knows where she's going, she finds out things aren't really so scary, she's feeling brave. And she pretended that all the trees were evil creatures. She jumped up and broke their fingers off. Snap, snap, snap. Sheila Ray walked quietly behind her. They walked and walked. They crossed streets. They turned corners. Who's leading the way now? Louise, right? Does it seem to you like Louise and Sheila Ray have changed places? They have, haven't they? How do you know? Well, in the beginning of the story, Sheila Ray was always in the front, telling Louise which way to go and being brave. And now it's Louise being brave, helping Sheila Ray. Soon their house could be seen between the trees. Sheila Ray grabbed Louise and dashed up the street. Why is Sheila Ray all of a sudden so happy now? She can see her house, can't she? She feels safe again, and she's so happy that Louise helped her to get home. When they reached their own yard and the gate was closed behind them, Sheila Ray said, Louise, you are brave. You're fearless. Do you agree that Louise is brave? Touch your nose if you think she's brave too. We both are, said Louise, as they walked backwards into the house with their eyes closed. What do you think made Louise seem so brave all of a sudden? Do you still think Sheila Ray is brave? Can a person be brave sometimes and not all the time? Well, I think that even a brave person is afraid sometimes. And sometimes when the brave people seem a little scared, other people have to step up and help them out and learn to be brave too. Alright guys, let's map our story now. So let's start with our setting. Remember that a setting is where the story takes place. So do we know the setting? Yeah, we know that it happened at their house, so we could draw a little house. Let's grab a pen and draw Sheila Ray and Louise's house, because remember they were inside their house. Here's my little house. Okay, so there's their house. So it happened in the house. It also happened at school. Okay, so I'm going to draw a desk. for school. Let's see if I can draw a little desk, because Sheila Ray had a desk. Alright, here's her little chair. Desk chair. Okay, and you'll do her little paper. Alright, there's her paper. So it happened at school and also on the way home from school. So to do that, I'm going to draw the sidewalk like this. And there's the cracks that they like to jump over. And that will remind us of that. I might could even take a crayon and make it like a gray color, and we could color in the sidewalk gray. Look at that. Alright, so there's our setting. Happened at their house, at school, and on the way home from school, right? Alright, who is the main character in that story? Who's the one we met at the very beginning that it's mostly about? Sheila, right? Sheila was the first one that we met, and she's really the one that the story's all about. It's called Sheila Ray the Brave. She's a mouse, just like Owen was. And remember, mice have like those oval shaped kind of heads, so we'll do it like this. Kind of drag it out. There's her head, and we'll make her little body. Okay. Oh. Drag it and move it over. Okay. Move this guy over. Move her head a little bit. Like this. Okay. Then we'll make her some arms and some legs. Right. Oh, here's another arm. And she needs a nose. She needs 2 ears. Some eyes. And a smile. Alright, there's Sheila Ray. Okay, she's who the story's about. She was wearing that pretty purple dress too. Let's draw our purple dress. Right, that's one way we knew this was a fantasy, right? Because mice don't actually wear clothes. Or live in houses. Well, they might live in some houses, but they don't live in houses like humans do, right? Okay, so here's Sheila Ray. Let's write her name. Sheila Ray. Okay? So Sheila Ray was one of our characters. She was the main character, really, wasn't she? And then let's think. Who's another really important character? Maybe not the main character, but also important. Her sister Louise, right? And so let's make Louise. She needs to be gray too. Okay. Right. Turn her head like this. Okay. And then let's add some legs for Louise. And here's her arms. Okay, and now she needs a nose, too, a mouth, some eyes, some ears, right? Because she's a mouse. And then Sheila Ray had that hair that kind of stuck up with a pink bow. Or not Sheila Ray, Louise, her sister. Okay. And Louise, what was Louise wearing? That like reddish, pinkish dress like this. We'll do it more red. That's why her bow is more red. It helps us know who's who. Okay, and then we'll do her in this like this little dress. Little red dress. Okay, here she is in her red dress. It's hard to do this on the computer. Alright, and we'll write Louise. That way we'll remember our 2 characters. Now the main one was really Sheila Ray, but Louise was a very important character too, especially at the end, wasn't she? Alright, now like most stories, characters had a problem to solve, right? The first problem is that Sheila and Louise decided to walk from school to home a new way. Okay, and then Sheila gets really scared, right? So I'm going to draw a scared face. Okay, for Sheila Ray, and I'm going to draw it in gray because Sheila Ray's gray. Okay, so there she is, and let's do her ears. She's a mouse. Okay, and now to make her scared face, I'm going to do 2 eyes, her nose, and then a face like this. Straight line mouth. Oh, she's scared, right? So that's the first problem, okay? The main problem is that they got lost on the new way home from school, right? So let's think about that. How could we draw her being lost? So here she is scared, and then I'm just going to write in lost, the word lost, okay, because they got lost. So she was scared and then she got lost. Now, let's think. How did Louise and Sheila solve their problem? Think about it. Louise helped him get back home, right? Okay, so let's Let's draw Louise again. We'll just draw her face this time. See if that'll work out better. Okay, let's turn her face like this. We'll draw her some ears. Let's draw her ears in gray this time and see if we can make it. Here we go. Okay. Here's her hair. We'll draw her a little red bow. Here she goes, like this. And let's draw her eyes, and her nose, and her mouth. And then I'll write the words. Louise led them home. That's how they solved their problem, right? Louise was so brave and led them home.